did that for 3 years. And then we eventually sold the company to KKR, and it's a $1 billion company. So that worked out pretty well.
Wow. Yeah.
That worked out pretty well, I would say. Yeah, most definitely. And so tell me a little bit more about today and LiveSwitch and what they do for the trades, or what they do to help out.
Yep. So we started getting into philanthropy, and we're like, hey, we're kind of too young to hang up our boots. Instead of starting a company from scratch, let's buy one. So we bought a 12-year-old company out of Vancouver. We looked all over for something we thought we could really contribute and find value. We wanted to stay in tech this time. And we bought a company that specializes in communications, specifically in live video. One of very few companies in the world that did it. And so we have done some cool things with this company. So, and you've seen our stuff and touched it. You didn't know it was us. So we did the Super Bowl this year in the last 3 years. We do, if you go to an MLB ballpark and scan a QR code and they put you on the Jumbotron, we powered that. If you remember COVID when NBA was in the bubble, or WWE wrestling, we powered all that. We did all of that. And so I was helping build product. I'm also kind of a nerd when it comes to building things. So I was a product officer for the company, and I got a knock on the door from the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent our nation's 911 phone call. Okay, when you make a phone call, you're in this thing called telephony. We have a phone number. I mean, it's like a fax machine. The worst part of your phone is the phone, right? So you're trying to tell the officer or the dispatch like what you're compromised. I'm like, well, now we all have these cameras on our phones, right? I think they give you these now when you're born, but like we got a ton of cameras. So I was like, how do I get into that camera with no app, like quickly, so we can point the camera at the situation and it can be shot to the police car, fire truck, emergency medical, so they can see what they're driving into. It's called situational awareness. So I woke up at 3 a.m. one day and I was like, I got it. And so we started building it. I got a ton of nerds in this company. And so I'm telling all the nerds what I want to build. And I'm going to tell you how we got back into the trades here in a second. It's a wild story. But so I'm reinventing that. I'm showing the chief. The chief's like, why don't we have this already? Because I figured out, I was like, Chief, we didn't have the infrastructure where everyone had these phones, right? So now we do. And so all things government take forever. So I was like, I wonder who else can use this. So I started talking to guys in the FBI that take care of professional sports teams. So I get this guy, his name's CT. He takes care of the Tennessee Titans NFL football team. And I'm showing him my emergency medical stuff. And he's like, hey, I got the stupidest question. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, my arena here in Nashville is huge. He's like, can I just text my guy across the arena when the trash cans fall over so I don't have to hop in my little golf cart? Because that would really help me. And I was like, oh, and boom. Like it reminded me when I was running my painting company, I used this thing called a Nextel walkie-talkie. And I love that thing. I was like, it's like the Nextel walkie-talkie, but for your eyes instead of just your ears. And so I was like, let me talk to some guys in the trades. So I get a hold of this guy. He's like, I don't know. He's like in the Hall of Fame of self-storage. And then this other guy who's in like the guy for moving industry, like moving boxes, moving in storage. So I talked to this guy and I'm showing him the stuff. And he's like, James, you're sitting on a pot of gold. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you should know this. He's like, the most expensive thing I do as a business owner is I put an hourly wage guy in one of my trucks to just drive out with one of my vehicles in the hopes of closing business. He's like, I'll just, in my discovery, I'll do this virtual thing. And sometimes I think I could probably close it virtually. Other times it lets me know that person has no business having one of my employees get out. They're just going to get 2 pizza boxes and their friends. Or it determines, oh, that's a big job. I'm driving out. And he was so right. We like exploded. Now we got like I got all kinds of trades people using it. We're under the hood of Service Titan and Jobber and all the rest of these CRMs. And just because we're one of the rare companies in the world that do live video. So we went from 911 phone call back to the trades. Isn't that a crazy story?
That is crazy. And it all began with a knock, right? Like, hey, you were knocking and then someone knocked on your door. And so kind of a full circle moment you have going on here.